They listen, or at least they pretend to. But you open up thinking you're planting trust, but you're actually planting stories in minds that weren't made to protect you. The moment your voice trembles and your eyes look down, they watch. Not to understand, but to analyze. They take mental notes, not to offer solutions, but to repeat your pain in someone else's ears. Your problems become whispers in rooms you've never entered. You trusted the wrong hearts. You believed the wrong smiles. And now the very things you whispered in confidence have become your labels. This world isn't built to heal you. It's built to expose you. The more you talk, the more you bleed. And when you bleed too much, they don't bandage you. They bury you under judgment. That's why the wise speak less. Because peace is found in silence and safety is found in solitude. You think that sharing your pain will bring you peace. That telling them your sleepless nights, your heartbreak, your fears will make them respect you. But people don't admire weakness. They use it. They don't always care about your sadness. Some people enjoy it. Some people love seeing you broken, not because they hate you, but because your struggle makes them feel superior. While you open your heart, they open their curiosity. While you speak from the soul, they prepare their opinions, and in the end you'll wish you kept it all to yourself. Because not every listening ear is a loving one. Not every smile is honest. And not every shoulder offered to lean on is meant to carry your weight. The moment you show them your wounds, you give them a chance to aim directly at them. And some people will shoot without hesitation. So many people suffer in silence, not because they're cold, but because they've been burned before. They tried to open up. They tried to be honest. And in return, they were laughed at, doubted, or abandoned. Some people learned the hard way that the world doesn't handle vulnerability well. That your sadness doesn't always inspire sympathy. Sometimes it invites cruelty. And so the strongest ones became silent warriors. They learned how to carry storms in their chests and walk like the sun. They learned how to wipe their tears in private and smile in public. Not because they aren't hurting, but because they've realized the truth. Most people don't want to help. They just want to know. Your life becomes their story. Your pain becomes their paragraph. Your trust becomes their tool. So protect your heart. Guard your emotions. And never let the wrong ears hear your struggle. Somewhere inside, you already know this. You felt the sting of being exposed. You've heard your words twisted. You've seen people distance themselves the moment you got honest. And that experience changed you. It made you colder. Not because you don't feel, but because you've learned to feel quietly. Not because you're empty, but because you've chosen to protect your peace. There's a sacredness in privacy, a strength in silence. Not every emotion needs a witness. Not every pain needs an audience. The more you share, the more you give away. And some things are meant to stay yours, not because you're ashamed of them, but because you value them. Your peace, your growth, your battles, they're part of your foundation. Speak them only to the one who will never misuse them. Speak them in prayer, not in pity. You don't owe the world your wounds. There's power in being misunderstood. There's freedom in being mysterious. Let them wonder. Let them assume. Let them guess. You don't need to explain why you're quiet. You don't need to justify your distance. The ones who truly care will feel your pain without a word. And the ones who don't, they were never meant to hold your truth anyway. This world praises performance, not pain. It respects silence more than complaints. When you carry your problems with grace, people respect your strength. When you scream them out, they label you weak. So carry your struggles like armor, not like chains. Let them sharpen you, not shame you. You don't need validation to heal. You need discipline. You need faith. You need the strength to keep going even when no one knows what you're going through. That's real courage. That's real character. The loudest cries are the ones no one hears. The strongest hearts are the ones that beat through brokenness and silence. You don't have to prove your pain. You don't have to display your suffering. Some victories are meant to be silent. Some growth is meant to be personal. The people who matter don't need to see you fall to understand your rising. And the people who enjoy your struggle were never with you to begin with. Speak less. Move wisely. Let your healing be yours. Protect your spirit. Guard your peace. Let them see your results, not your regrets. Let them hear your success, not your sorrow. Your story isn't meant for public consumption. Your life isn't a confession booth. Heal in silence. Rise in silence. Let your transformation speak for itself. They will say you've changed. They'll say you're distant. Let them talk. You're not here to explain yourself. You're not here to make people comfortable with your journey. Growth requires silence. Healing requires distance. Not everyone can handle your process. Not everyone is meant to walk with you through the fire, and that's okay. You were never supposed to be understood by everyone. You were supposed to evolve quietly, powerfully, silently. Stop explaining, start moving. Stop telling, start building. Let the world see your strength, not your scars. Let your silence become your roar. The more they know, the more control they have. The less they know, the more power you hold. Master yourself. Discipline your emotions. And remember, peace isn't found in pouring out to everyone. It's found in pouring into yourself. You don't need sympathy. You need strength. You don't need an audience. You need alignment. Every time you tell your issues to the wrong person, you hand them the key to your peace. Some will use it to unlock support, but many will use it to break you further. Speak to your creator. Speak to your soul. But don't speak to people who only listen to compare, compete, or criticize. You are not a project. You are not a story for their entertainment. You are a warrior in the middle of your own war. Fight it wisely. Speak with purpose. Move in silence. Heal in secret. And rise so high that even your silence becomes a testimony. Some days you'll feel like screaming, like letting it all out. But remember who's around you. Remember who's truly for you. Speak only where it's safe. And sometimes the safest place is the quiet space within. That moment when you kneel and whisper everything to God. No judgment, no betrayal, just healing, just understanding. You don't need applause, you don't need eyes watching. You just need time, you just need space. You just need to believe that what you're going through will pass, and it will. Don't give up your peace trying to explain your storm. Don't give away your power trying to get people to care. Not everyone deserves your pain. Not everyone can handle your truth. So carry it quietly. Walk with it boldly. Let it shape you. Let it mold you. But never let it be your identity. The day you stop talking about your issues is the day you start fixing them. Not because people helped you, but because you helped yourself. You got tired of waiting. You got tired of explaining. And you decided to act. That's where real healing begins. Not in sharing, but in doing. Not in crying to people, but in praying for clarity. Not in expecting help, but in becoming your own help. Don't tell people about your issues. Show them your transformation. Let your life speak louder than your words. Let your peace be proof of your process. And when they ask how you did it, just smile. Because some victories are too sacred to share, and some struggles are too precious to speak of. You'll reach a point in life where silence becomes more comforting than conversation. You'll learn that not every voice around you is a friend. Some voices are hunters, waiting for the moment you speak so they can take aim. You were never meant to explain your every emotion to people who have never tried to understand themselves. Their ears don't have space for your depth, only their curiosity. And once they've heard your pain, they wear it like a badge, not to honor you, but to show others they were close enough to see you break. That's why you must train your heart to be still. Teach your mind to be your closest companion. Let your soul become your safest listener. Because the more you rely on people, the more you risk being undone by their silence when you need their words the most. Not everyone's absence is peaceful. Some silences scream betrayal. There will be days when your chest feels heavy and you'll crave a voice, any voice, to tell you it's going to be okay. But pause before you speak. Breathe before you open up. Ask yourself, will this person truly hold my pain gently, or will they place it on a scale next to their own? Not every conversation is meant to happen. Not every heart is prepared to hold you. What you carry is sacred, not because it's perfect, but because it's yours. Your wounds, your fears, your regrets, they are sacred lessons, not public performances. The more you speak of them carelessly, the more they lose their meaning. And when your story becomes common to others, it loses its power for you. Protect it. Speak it only to those who have bled and healed. To those who will not compare, but relate. Not out of sympathy, but out of soul connection. People love the idea of being there for you until you actually need them. They love to hear you talk about your trauma until it becomes inconvenient. Until your pain shows up on a day they needed your joy. Until your truth conflicts with their expectation. That's when you realize most people want the version of you that makes them comfortable, not the real one. The more you give them your truth, the more they push you towards silence. Not because they want peace, but because they want distance from anything that reminds them of their own unhealed self. They can't handle your honesty, not because it's too much, but because it's too real. So they label you as negative, as emotional, as dramatic. And suddenly, your honesty becomes your isolation. That's the risk of opening up in the wrong places. You give them truth and they give you labels. Don't let that become your pattern. Some people don't deserve access to your inner world, not because they're evil, but because they're careless. They don't lock the doors after you open up. They leave your secrets on display, unintentionally or not. You told them once in a moment of trust, and now it feels like the whole world knows. That pain changes something in you. It teaches you caution. It teaches you silence. It teaches you that sometimes the best way to share is not to speak at all, but to live. To show growth instead of discussing struggle. To build quietly, heal quietly, rise quietly. Because when your journey is sacred, it becomes your power. It becomes your protection. Not every wound needs a spotlight. Some wounds heal best in the dark. Some transformations happen in stillness, far away from watching eyes and waiting tongues. It taught you the price of raw honesty in a world that sells pain like entertainment. Now you move differently. You share differently. You smile, but you don't speak. You listen, but you don't invite. And they notice, they wonder, but you don't owe them your pages. You don't owe anyone the chapters they never helped you write. Let them read your silence. Let them guess what's behind your calm. Because if they were meant to know, they would have stayed when you broke. They would have reached out when you disappeared. But they didn't. And now your silence is your shield. Your peace is your message. And the less they know, the better you sleep. When you speak less, you observe more. You begin to notice how people respond when you don't give them what they want. Your vulnerability. You see the ones who stick around because they genuinely care. You see the ones who disappear because they weren't getting fed by your emotions anymore. And suddenly everything becomes clearer. Who loves you for your soul and who loves you for your scars? Who checks on you quietly and who only listens when there's drama? Your silence becomes a mirror. It shows you who people really are. And in that silence you grow. You shed the weight of needing to be understood. You rise above the noise of needing validation. You stop explaining your storms and start dancing in the rain. You stop breaking down and start building up. You don't need their sympathy. You need your peace. And peace begins when the talking ends. Even in your deepest pain, you can choose dignity. You can cry without collapsing. You can suffer without sharing. Because what you carry is not weakness. It's strength that hasn't finished speaking yet. Your silence is not empty. It's full of lessons, full of energy, full of prayer. And those who misunderstand your silence were never meant to understand your journey. Let them go. Let the misunderstanding happen. You're not living for clarity from the crowd. You're living for alignment with your purpose. You're not trying to be seen. You're trying to be healed. And healing is not loud. Healing is quiet. It's messy. It's slow. It's sacred. Keep it that way. Don't let anyone rush you. Don't let anyone demand explanations from a heart that's still learning to beat again. Protect your story like it's the only one you'll ever get, because it is. There's a difference between sharing and spilling. One comes from confidence. The other comes from chaos. When you share, you offer a piece of yourself that's been processed, understood, accepted. When you spill, you throw your pain into the world, hoping someone will pick it up and fix it. But they won't. Because only you can hold your heart the way it deserves to be held. Only you can walk your path without collapsing. Only you can write your ending the way it was meant to be written. Don't spill. Share when it's right. Speak when it's safe. And until then, let your silence be your sanctuary. Let your pain be your personal compass. You don't need to broadcast your breakdowns. Let the world see your rise, not your fall. Let them hear your victory, not your plea. Because you were never meant to live for their understanding. You were meant to live for your own healing. You owe no one your open wounds. You owe no one your unfinished chapters. The people who are meant to walk with you will do so without needing every detail. They'll feel your energy. They'll protect your silence. And they'll trust that whatever you're going through is molding you into someone stronger. Those are the ones you keep. The rest, let them wander. Let them talk. You don't live to be understood. You live to be whole. You don't need an audience to rise. You need intention. You need boundaries. And most of all, you need trust. In yourself, in your God, in the timing that feels like silence, but is actually preparation. Don't waste time trying to explain your journey to those who never even cared about your direction. Let your silence speak louder than your explanations. let your life become the answer they're looking for. And in the end, you'll realize the silence that once felt heavy became the strength that carried you, because the less you spoke of your pain, the more you healed from it, quietly, powerfully, completely.